guidance? What would be your tip to people who may not have the preferred relationship with their father as far as getting through life without that male role model in their household?
Not having a father is definitely a setback at first, and you may feel uncomfortable when your friends talk about what they're going to do with their family or their fathers during the weekend, and you're kind of just left out. But I would suggest as a young woman that not having a father figure actually gives you a chance to work on yourself and your passion. Find a passion, have a work ethic, and just go for it.
Okay. All right. 347-202-0215 is the number on the Talk to Q radio show. I'm going to go to the phones, and I'm going to go to the 601 area code to Jackson, Mississippi, which is my hometown, and I'll bring on Eminem. Eminem, how are you doing?
Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
And Eminem, did you have a question for Ms. Patel in regards to, I know we've discussed, I guess, daddy issues on the show before, or do you have a question or comment in regards to that?
I had a great one at first, man, but, I kind of got lost because when I heard that, I know it's a serious topic, but I was just kind of just real curious about this virgin prostitution. That just kind of stumped me. I just kind of got, locked in on that, like what drove that? Was it anything in particular?
Yes,
I know you didn't start doing it, but I mean, I just, because I know a lot of times, young ladies can get in different relationships and all that, but that's kind of like, I just kind of wonder where that came from. Like,
so it wasn't really something that I went into or anything. I found out that I was getting recruited, and I didn't know what I was getting recruited for until I found out what these young women were doing in this underground economy, and that's when I was like, wow, this is something else, and I really got to see what they were doing, how they were feeling, and why they were doing it. And most of them were doing it just to pay their tuition off, just to feel independent from their family. They wanted to really make it, but they didn't know how. They didn't have the tools. And there were so many different reasons, and I learned so much about these young women, but no, I did not move forward in that direction. Thank God.
Yeah, I guess that's a way a father figure guidance can really benefit, because a lot of people in modern times only look at how much money the dude make, child support somebody paying, but hipping your daughters or nieces or whatever to how the game go, help them out. Because if a cat, you catch the wrong cat, and he think you don't know the game, he's going to try to run the game. If you run the game and then you ain't, swift enough to get out of it, next thing you know, you're in the middle of it, So.
Exactly. I mean, even I was brought up with strong morals and values, but you never how you can be speaking off your feet or speaking off the ground when it comes to any of that stuff, really.
Okay, now I'm sorry, I'm having a difficult time hearing that last part. What did you say at the end there?
I said you never really know when you're going to be speaking off the ground from your morals and values, even if you grew up in a house with strong morals and values.
True. And I think some people can they can sense when someone is going through something, and I think a lot of women who wind up in any type of immoral type of lifestyle, be it alcoholism or drugs or whatever it is, a lot of times, they can be targeted. People can kind of sense that. But let me go to the 732 area code on the Jersey Shore and bring on Ray. Ray, how's it going today?
Hey, how you doing, Q? What's up, cuz?
All right. And you have a question or for Sweta Patel?
I just have a comment. I mean, it's always nice to for people to get these stories out, especially if they had a troubled situation, because there's always people that's going through trouble, and, you know, if you can help somebody out there that may be going through the same situation, a lot of times that can help people and even save lives. So, you know, it's good to get your story out there, make sure that people know that they're not alone in certain situations, and they're able to identify with somebody else who may be going through the exact same thing and find out how they persevere through the whole thing. So I think that's good.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that comment, Ray. And he makes a good point, Sweta, because at the time you were going through this, I'm pretty sure you felt like you were all alone, like you were the only person in the world that had this type of problem.
Yeah, I kind of did not know which direction to take in my life, and I felt like I was at so many different crossroads at one point. I didn't know which way to go.
Okay. Now, as far as some of the young ladies who go through college and they are looking for a relationship, what would be your advice to women who are having a hard time finding a man who wants to commit? Because women tend to mature earlier than men. So there may be some women in college who are looking to settle down while there are some men who are not. How can they tell the difference?
Well, I would really suggest young women to know somebody maybe through the phone for a few weeks, see their friend for maybe 90 days, see their actions, see if they align with their morals and values. If their actions don't align with their morals and values, and you're still with that person, that's a red flag. If you find more than 3 red flags in a relationship within 90 days, I would leave that situation because that man is most likely not going to commit.
Okay, so you give it a time frame and you have to stick to that time frame, because I know a lot of people have a hard time walking away. They say, well, I've invested 3 months, so maybe I should see where this goes. And that's kind of the downfall for a lot of people, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, when you invest your feelings, your time, I mean, especially when you sleep with somebody, that creates another bond in itself, you know, and you really get close with that person, and all of a sudden that person wants to separate. It takes a toll on your mind. It takes a toll on your heart. So it's better to get to know the person up front, get to know their characteristics and their actions, and then go forward if you don't see any red flags, but leave the situation if you do, so you can protect your heart and not get heartbroken at the same time.
Okay. All right. Well, let me go back to the phones and go to the 248 to Detroit, Michigan, and I'll bring on Crystal. Crystal, how are you doing this evening?
I'm fine. How are you, Q and Mrs. Patel?
Doing great.
You have a question for Sweta Patel?
Yes, I find that in school and high school, and even before in middle school, that girls are not taught about self-esteem at all. And do you feel that interjecting some sort of health class or something similar that would help them in their formative years deal with self-esteem, which can lead to a lot of issues for them later on? Do you feel that maybe the schools could help in that?
I absolutely agree. I mean, when I was 16 years old, which was in high school, I myself had self-image issues just because at that age, you know, people make fun of you. You get criticized in your own home at times. I mean, you have magazines and messages shooting at you from all different angles on what you should look like, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. I mean, it's really about knowing who you are and building up that strong self-confidence at a young age. I mean, if you don't, it's like when you go to college, you just may be steered in the wrong direction and influenced by the wrong crowd and be doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So those types of classes at a young age, especially when I was 16, would have definitely helped me out.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Okay, good question, Crystal. Thank you very much. Let me go to the 501 in Arkansas, and I'll bring on Amy. Amy, how are you?
Hey, Q. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing well. And Amy, I know you have two young daughters. Do you have any questions in regards to them for our guest tonight?
Yeah, I want to actually take what Crystal just said a step further and ask what you would recommend to a girl who is does have very low self-esteem and is in a troubled relationship of being used and treated poorly and everything. How to break away from that relationship? How to break that pattern?
Okay, great question. I would want to ask you, where does the root of her self-esteem issues come from? Do you think it comes from maybe the father? Do you think it comes from her friends? What is the cause of her self-esteem?
I believe it's a lot of it is possibly her weight. She's a very, very pretty girl, 23 years old, very beautiful girl. She does have some weight issues. The mother has dealt with some self-esteem issues off and on throughout her life. But you ever heard that old saying, a girl goes after a guy that's like their father?
Yes.
When their own father is an abusive, worthless piece of crap, to be honest with you, you kind of end up with guys that are
pretty much the same way.
Deserve it. You don't think you deserve any better when you've seen your own father abuse his wives. Then you think you deserve any better? I mean, do you just you know what I'm saying?
Do you think that she's limiting herself as far as what she deserves? Do you think that she could do better, but she doesn't know that she can do better?
Exactly.
And the way that you can maybe you can teach her the differences, like, how, like, maybe a man in your life and how he treats you or what you find is acceptable for a person. I mean, with certain characteristics, like the man's giving, he's caring. I mean, when you look down the line, maybe you guys can work on, like, goals, like 5-year goals. What do you see yourself doing in your personal life in 5 years? If she says, hey, I want to have a family, I want to have a house, I want to do this job. When you have a family, you have a house, I want to have kids. When you have all that, you have to really think about the father figure. Okay, if you have kids, what type of father do you want raising these kids? Are you looking at the short-term instant gratification of, this abuse and the pain that you get from this person? I mean, in the long run, where does that really take you? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So working on your goals, and really it's a mindset switch. It's really, do you want this for the next 5 years, or do you want this other thing, this other goal for the next 5 years? And basing your priorities on that goal will really help you put your mindset towards your goals versus being in a relationship with somebody that's destructive.
Right. Well, I think it's that I see that it's almost as if her own father has a hold on her, has a hold on her, a grip on her that she's afraid to, you know what, I deserve better than you, Daddy. I deserve better than what you treated my mama and what you treated my stepmother, and I deserve better than you in what I see in guys.